What's going on, everybody? Chad Joyner here with Preacher Thing. Hey, listen, as you guys know, we are in between seasons right now as we wind down the year 2022 and get ready for 2023. And as you guys know, in between our seasons, we like to do what we call Preacher Think Shorts, where we have the opportunity to bring individuals in who have ties to the Preacher Think podcast, i.e. Our music director and producer, or our executive producer, Mr. Josh Walker. And I like to bring in some different things that they're working on and stuff like that. And of course, since it is the Christmas season, man, I'm feeling really, really generous. And I have got a gift to share with you guys via the instrument of my friend, Mr. JQ Walker, the music producer for Preacher Think. He has been working on a collaborative effort in music with a one Miss Daisha Brooke Emanuel. So without further ado, you guys already know JQ Walker from JQ Walker Music, but I want to introduce to you Miss Daisha Brooke Emanuel. Daisha, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good, man. We are so glad that you had the opportunity to join us on the podcast today. And of course, I don't want to leave my man out. JQ, how are you today, sir?
I'm great, man. I see your Christmas tree back there.
Man, yeah, of course. We're in the Christmas spirit, man. I had to bring the spirit along with me throughout this broadcast today.
Should have worn my hat.
I hear you, man. Well, look, let's just go ahead and jump right into this thing. Like I said, I wanted to bring you guys a gift because if you don't know Miss Daisha Brooke Emanuel, she is an up-and-coming music artist from Clinton, North Carolina, and she's got a new single out. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But I want you guys to get a little bit better acquainted with Miss Daisha. So, Daisha, I want you to tell the people in your own words, who is Daisha Emanuel?
To be completely honest, I think like most young adults, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm 20 years old. I like to think that I'm very loyal and very compassionate. And I'm a singer-songwriter, or at least that's what people keep telling me, so.
Awesome. Well, look, you've got a new single out. It's on Apple Music right now called Red Eye. So I want you to tell us in your own words, tell us what Red Eye is all about.
Red Eye is about a past experience of mine that was very eye-opening. It's honestly just about having extremely strong feelings for someone and not knowing if the feelings are mutual and still willing to do, whatever it takes to be with that person. I think talking and relationships are a lot different than how they used to be, and people just aren't as bold. And I happen to be one of those people. And I just wrote it all down. I wrote all my emotions down because I wasn't sure how to express it. So that's what Red Eye is.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that because when you actually think about a red eye flight, the definition of a red eye flight is somewhere between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning. So it's a flight that's thought about where people don't, normally that's when most people are sleeping, and a red eye flight kind of takes place when, it gives you just enough time to get where you need to get to, but it doesn't give you enough time to get enough sleep. And it's kind of involves, from what I got from the lyrics of what you were saying, like, you're kind of stumbling around in the dark, trying to get to the light of the transparency of really how you feel about, this person and just see where you are. Is that am I on the right track when I say that?
You are. You're pretty head on.
Okay, good deal. Good. Well, look, Daisha, as a singer-songwriter, when you were writing this single, and I want to hear from both of you guys, when you were writing this single, what was that process like as a singer-songwriter writing this song?
I think like every song that I've ever written, it's really just how I feel in that particular moment, whether it be a past experience or a current one. And since I was young, I've been writing for a really long time. It's always been my outlet. And I had actually stopped writing for a season. And when this particular situation was taking place, I turned back to it because the emotions that I was feeling, like I hadn't felt that way in a long time, and I didn't know how to express it. So I started jotting all these things down. And Red Eye is essentially a part of a bigger project called Dallas. And Dallas is a storyline of emotions for me that took place about 2 years ago. And Dallas has a lot of past experiences and relationships packed into it, and just, to make it full. And Dallas is something that I learned from, but also something that I moved on from, and I'm excited to share it.
Awesome. Well, man, I'm telling you, I'm excited about the way you share your heart as not just, again, as a singer, but also as a songwriter. And JQ, for you, kind of, the same question. When you were thinking about the instrumentation for this song, when you were thinking about producing this track, walk us through that a little bit. What was that process like for you to kind of think about the instrumentation and producing this track with Daisha?
So, as far as music goes, she sends me like a scratch recording, because I've done music in the past. I showed her, and then she sends me a scratch recording of her playing the piano and singing to it. And so the same day, I believe, I send back a demo with drums and bass only. And that was kind of a foundation for it to build ideas on top of. Yeah. And after that, I just started thinking what style I want to go for, talking with Daisha about it, and kind of a mix in between country and pop, whether we like it or not. That's what it was.
Right. Hey, look, man. Hey, I love that feel. It's funny that you say that, because literally, as I listened to the song, I was like, man, this is like, I knew it had a pop feel to it, but it definitely kind of has it has that touch of country to it as well, where it's like, man, this could be a nice crossover track between a lot of different genres.
Yeah, man. And some heavy acoustic guitar, the sliding guitar I did myself. That's what gave it that country feel. It gives it the flavor. Yeah, kind of gliding. Yeah. You're on a plane or something.
Oh, basically. Man. I love that.
To the fact. Yeah.
I love that.
And real big drums, real big.
Yes. And I love the fact that you started out with, you and I have talked about this musically before. And once you start out with the drums and the bass, and you've got that solid foundation, everything else is just whipped cream on top. Everything else is just layers on top of the cake, man. It makes everything so sweet. And I mean, I'm telling you, I think you did a fabulous job, both of you, mixing the lyrical content with the instrumentation that you put behind it, JQ. I think it was amazing how you guys did that together. But listen, this is where I want to go next. And I want to hear from both of you guys on this one as well. Daisha, where do you hope that this song takes people? Because we all know that music takes you on a journey. When you listen to a song, or if an album is well put together enough as far as lyrics and instrumentation and production, if you sit down and listen to a whole album, it can take you down memory lane. It may take you to some type of a futuristic event. It can take you all kinds of places. So where do you hope that this track, Red Eye, takes people when they listen to it?
I really hope that everyone can find a way to relate to Red Eye. I think you can interpret this song in many different ways, whether you're in a long distance relationship, you're looking at it as a metaphorical flight, or like a physical flight. I think I hope it reminds you of a relationship or a friendship that you're in. And I want people to see the thrill of hope that I had when I wrote this, and that feel of young love, whenever you don't know if the feelings are reciprocated, but you're just so passionate about it that you want the other person to feel that way too. So you're just doing whatever it takes. And I hope that it kind of just takes you back to that place when you're in high school or you're in college and you're like, wow, I want to be with this person so much. Like, that's what I want people to feel. And even if you interpret a different way, that's okay. As long as you relate to it, I feel like that's what's important to me.
Wow. I love that. JQ, what about you? Same thing with it from a producer standpoint, from a production and engineering type standpoint. I know you and I have talked about when you're playing, the way that music can make a person feel. What do you hope that this track, where do you hope that this takes people when they feel that instrumentation that you put behind these lyrics?
I think the music complements, like Daisha said, the feeling of young love. It complements that pretty well, I believe. I guess driving down the street, you know how you like to sing a song, especially if you're driving on your own, because I know I do it.
Yeah,
you're singing a song at the top of your lungs, blasting it. That's the kind of feel. That's what I basically hope people get from that.
Awesome, man. I love that. You guys just use some language and some terms that I really, really like. And you're, Daisha, you were talking about, passion and interpretation, and JQ, you were just kind of talking about, what it feels like when you're riding down the road and you feel the love of a song when everything is beautifully blended and mixed together. And Daisha, of course, you also just related this to a relationship. And I love that because, obviously people who tune into this podcast, or the Preacher Think podcast, our viewers and our listeners know that this is all about, everything that we do is geared and filtered towards, downloading thoughts from God and uploading them to people through the lens of grace and kingdom. So of course they would look at this and say, what in the world does this really have to do with that? Well, you can interpret this song as your relationship with Christ. I mean, it could be you can interpret this song however you need to interpret it, viewer, listener out there. And, this is where I want to go next. JQ and I, we've talked about this before, Daisha, why I think it's so critically important to have people like you in every area of life and every area of influence in the world, because a believer in Christ that's young and that's creative and that can use your platform to share Jesus in your own fresh and creative way. That's what I think about all the time. So I think we need young Christians in music, in politics, all in every single facet of the world. And because of the influence that you carry, because of your identity in Christ. So I want you to tell us in your own words why you think it's important for someone like you, with your gift, with your identity rooted in Christ. Why is it so important for you to be a part of music on the world stage?
I think being labeled, pastor's kid for as long as I can remember, I used to look at it as, all eyes are on me. Everyone's watching what I'm doing, waiting for me to mess up. But in reality, I think people are just looking to me to be an example. And I think with releasing music, you're essentially doing the same thing. And I want to use this platform as the opportunity to show people grace and compassion, regardless of whether they're throwing stones at me or not. And I see this as an opportunity to show that gospel-filled believers are humans just like everyone else. So.
I love that. You essentially just encapsulated what we get to do every single day as believers. We simply get to wake up. We get to remind ourselves who we are in Christ. Then we get to go out and through whatever avenue, whatever giftings that we have, we get to just be the authentic, genuine us, which for you includes being a singer and a songwriter. And then at the end of the day, we lay down, we go to sleep, we wake up tomorrow, and we do it all over again. And that's us being an example of Christ followers, Christ believers in the earth. And that gives us the opportunity, again, in creative and fresh ways, to be able to mix and blend into the culture, to be able to show them the love and the acceptance of Jesus Christ, no matter where they are and through whatever avenue. And I love that you're able to do that through your gifting in this great avenue of music as a singer and a songwriter. So before we leave, I want you to tell the people how they can get a hold of your new track, Red Eye, and then also tell them how they can connect with you on social media.
Red Eye is released on all platforms, anywhere you stream music, thanks to DistroKid. I'm on Instagram at Daisha.Brook, and my DMs, as well as I'm sure JQ's, are always open if anyone has any questions or any concerns or anything like that.
Awesome. Well, Daisha, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for giving Preacher Think the opportunity to be able to share your giftedness with the world. JQ, my man, of course, I appreciate you for being such an integral part of what we do here at Preacher Think, not only being the music producer for the Preacher Think podcast, but being able to bring on dope artists like Daisha, Brooke, Emmanuel. I appreciate you, man, so much. Well, we're about to run out of time, but before we go, just continue to watch because we've got a clip right now of Daisha's new song, Red Eye. And you make sure after you listen to this, you go over to Apple, iTunes, and all the platforms that stream music and make sure that you go cop this new single from Daisha Brooke. You guys be blessed.
So